All right. Hey, everyone. Thank you for joining for another Everafter webinar. I'm glad to have you here, and for all of you that will hear us later on the recording. So hi as well. I'm super excited to host Valentina and Pablo from the Spryker team. And they're going to share with us their great story on how they were able to reduce time to value with the customer interface. So it's going to be a discussion, and they're going to share a lot of what led them to make a decision to implement the customer interface and what they've built so far, what they got out of it, and what else they plan to build. So, hey, Valentina and Pablo, how are you?
Hi, Shakar.
Hey, Shakar.
How are you doing?
Good.
Doing fine. All right, so I know that we have a lot to cover. So in a moment, I'm going to start asking you a lot of questions. And for all of you, for those of you in the audience, if you have any questions, feel free to add them on the Q&A part. We will try to answer as much as possible. But before we actually start the conversation, I just want to highlight it for those of you who are not very familiar with Everafter. So Everafter is a customer interface company, and we allow our customers to build dedicated interface to push for their customer actions. And this is an interface that can use a lot of information from marketing and customer success and product and sales and build this layer that is personalized and actionable for each customer. And this could actually will change how you perceive your customer journey from the initial stages of sales and POCs, from onboarding to QBRs for post-onboarding and digital plans as well. So without further ado, I'm going to actually stop sharing my screen, and we have a lot to cover. So if you can start, Valentina and Pablo, by telling me a bit about yourself and about Spryker as well.
Yeah, gladly. So hello, everyone. My name is Valentina. I am Senior Customer Experience Manager within Spryker Customer Success team. I've been with Spryker for a little bit over 3 years, so I'm one of the dinosaurs in the customer success team. I still remember the times when we did not have as much as we have right now. And my journey within Spryker was actually very interesting. So I started with the company as a customer success manager, and with time, I kind of pursued my own path with the customer experience. Yeah, so happy to show what we have achieved with Everafter.
Thank you. Pablo, and yourself?
Yeah, hi, good morning and good afternoon. I'm Pablo. I'm Senior Director of Customer Success at Spryker. I have a background in sales, actually, and before I joined Spryker 1.5 years ago, I was in new sales and key accounting at home, and then joining Spryker, I took over the strategic and enterprise team. And yeah, as Valentina said, a lot happened, and we were back then organized into strategic, enterprise, and grown scale segments. Also, the team was organized like that. Over time, we shifted, and we now have an industry focus, focusing on automotive, industrial goods, and consumer goods. And there we also have 2 dedicated roles. One is for value and growth, and the other one is for engagement and touch points, which owns Valentina. And as I learned last week at the customer conference in London, we are quite well organized in total in the customer for life department, how we call it, because there we also have the partner success, the community academy, and the professional expert services. Should I continue a little bit about Spryker?
Yes, please. For those of you who are not familiar with Spryker, if you can share a bit.
Okay, I will keep it short, no worries. So we are a tech scale-up out of the PAS region, and we provide sophisticated e-commerce solutions, such as marketplace, unified commerce, and shop systems in general. So the focus is on larger B2B, but also D2C companies whenever it needs more than just a basic shop system. So also relevant for many mid-sized companies. yeah, our strategy is to make it easy to work with us and yeah, always use the best of breed if possible. And if I could use the analogy of our logo a little bit, you can see it here on the back. It's our antelope. Antelopes are actually the only animals in Africa which can beat lions in a fight. And as we are in a very competitive market, like we have Salesforce, we have Adobe Magento or SAP Hybris as competitors, Spryker as a scale-up is, yeah, not at all holding back when it comes to actually compete on the market here. If you twist our logo a little bit by 90 degrees, you can see a dolphin, which is the fastest and most agile animal in the water. And if you twist it another 90 degrees, so you have it upside down, it's like a penguin. And penguins are able to raise their babies in the worst conditions, like cold, windy, ice, not a lot of food available. And that's actually how we take care of our customers in Customer for Life. And yeah, since we are continuously growing, we were able to win some deals over the last months and years on international basis, which were really important for us. It's also worth mentioning it how we are organized. Like we have the work from anywhere principle. We have more than 50 different nations in our working culture, so to say. And I never experienced something like that in another company before. So we have a very strong people and culture department, which is really taking care of our professional and personal development in a very open work environment. So that's Spryker in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's nice. And you also have amazing offices, at least the ones that I've been to. So let's take back like a year or I think almost a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. You had a challenge that you wanted to solve. Like, to make a long story short, Everafter helped you in solving that. But what was the initial challenge that back then you were looking to solve or to overcome?
Yeah, I mean, in a scaling environment and tech company, you have many people customer facing, and that's not always the best and can also cause irritation. So that was something we really wanted to solve and have a better and structured way. So besides how we are structured as a team, it was also important that we had, for example, a structured onboarding in place, or QBR, EBR templates in place, also that the CSMs are not following on an individual basis, but also on something given and having a structure there. And yeah, offering self-service as a portal, product insights to see customer updates we wanted to share. And of course, in general, also automation, because it's more growing in regards of efficiency and a structure. I mean, you can scale with people, but that's not always the best thing. And that's a good mix. So we have quite a big customer success team, but to support that was really important in many of the areas you will hear shortly now.
All right, and what alternatives were you exploring in order to overcome this scale good problem that you've had?
Yeah. So we had, first of all, we had a long list of requirements that we shared with all our potential matches, right, for the customer interface. And I think Everafter was the best by far, the best solution that could offer us all the functionality that we were looking for. So we had a very long list with different, thinking about the present and the nearest future and the long-term future, right? Everything that we wanted to achieve with not just the customer interface, but also partner interface or technology partner interface. Right, we had a short list of 4 or 5 providers. Our, I think, first thought would be to use Salesforce as a CRM. Internally with Spryker, we have a very complex use case. We have a very complex setup when it comes to the customer success plans. We have really a very, very complex product there. And we have other portals based on Salesforce. So that was our first thought. But looking deeper into what we wanted to achieve, not just right now, but also in the future, we did explore other possibilities, and we're very happy that we met Everafter because most of our list was covered by the functionalities that Everafter offers. Plus, as a bonus, I think it was not a decision factor, but it was a very, very big plus and very good to have, is the Everafter team and the interaction with Yushahar, for example. That was a very big plus for us. How open you were in the process, how you helped us figure out our requirements, how you were very welcoming to our ideas. So that was something that we valued from the very beginning.
Yeah. And I mean, in the beginning, it was not that easy. Late 22, I still recall it. I mean, there were some no-goes, like we are a German-based company. We have the GDPR topic quite as a headline, so that was not so easy in regards of hosting. But then, yeah, Shahar, we connected at that point, and you were also open to start hosting in the EU. So we were really, really happy about that, because functionality-wise, team-wise, etc., there was just a very good connect. And then having you agreeing on also changing your strategy on short notice, which you might have had on a later point on the roadmap, that was for us one of the key factors then why we could actually enter into that direction. And then one thing led to the other. You were quite motivated to make the hosting happen, and then we completely concentrated our efforts in realizing the first possible use case here.
All right, maybe just to share, we do host in Europe. So for all of our European attendees here, we have a data center as well in Frankfurt, Germany. So you're covered in that perspective. So I know that we talked and you've implemented already, or you plan to implement additional use cases. Can you walk me through a bit about the initial use case that you've implemented?
Yeah, so the initial use case also kind of came hand in hand with what we were doing before we decided that we needed a customer interface. So just as a bit of a background, we did not have any customer interface or customer portal in the past before Everafter. And for us, it was a major step on the way to offer self-service to the customers, to offer a space for the CSMs and the customers and the partners to connect with each other, and also to make the information available at any time, and just put all of our resources in one place, because that was a big challenge for us, that we have so many different portals, so many different resources and reads and information and teams, so it can get very, very complicated. And we needed one central customer hub that in the end we created with Everafter. And we started with the Tech Touch engagement program, and creating a customer portal was part of that program, because that would offer us a lot of to turn a lot of reactive engagement into proactive engagement, that would offer us to share information, that would offer us to automate a lot of things that we did not have automated before that. So yeah, we started with the customer hub for Tech Touch customers, the customers that already, and the customers that already had a live project with us, so not the more complex use cases. We went into the very, very generic use case. We started with a focus group of customers that we reached out to individually, asked them to give us some feedback, to test out the solution, to the people that we knew could give us critical, constructive feedback to our faces without sugarcoating that much. So that was pretty successful. And then we expanded the use case to the customers that are preparing to go live with Spryker, and then to the customers that are in onboarding. So we have a completely different hub for the customer, for the onboarding of the customers. And then we created the digital QBR framework. And now we are working on adding an extended Spryker ecosystem into the customer, into Everafter, not to the customer interface, but into the Everafter universe.
And just one note to add what Valentina just said. I mean, we started in about January last year. Shahar, you were over in Berlin for the kickoff. And then basically we locked Valentina and a colleague into a room. It was not like this, but they were able to concentrate for 3 months actually on the implementation. And of course, you need to have, besides getting Everafter running, which is quite easy because it's a very intuitive tool to realize processes. But of course, you also need to have everything at hand in regards of documentation, have other people aligned on the content creating for that hub. And so the team of 2 people were concentrating 3 months on only having the first use case ready. And then we didn't believe it ourselves when we started the plan to say, okay, let's look in 3 months if everything is up and running. But actually, we made it and put it to life after 3 months, and that was just a total game changer for the last year and how we connected our install base from then.
Maybe just to, I think that just to recap on a few of the things that you mentioned, I think that worth mentioning. So to me, it sounds like you had a lot of information and a lot of content to share. And I think that the challenge was how to curate that in a way that it will feel actionable and personalized to each customer based on what they need. Because I know that you had these portals and you had a lot of different programs running in parallel. So the content was there. It was more of how we can define the content strategy that will find the customer where where they need to meet. And I think that the work that you've done on your interface was really, really amazing and very collaborative. And maybe if you can, and I think that also worth mentioning that the test group or the feedback group is also something that is very, very important because it gave you the opportunity to get like an unfiltered information from customers that eventually should be the one that uses this interface. So I think this is also something that is when you build the customer interface and when you define this project, it's an idea that worth thinking about. Can we see some of it? I know that probably the audience will be excited to see what you've planned or what you've built already.
I don't know. Can we, Valentina?
I am trying to share my screen. However, I don't have permission. So Shahar, if you would let me share.
Yeah, but what you said, Shahar, totally. It was important to concentrate on use case after use case because we knew if we want to start everything at the same time, that would not brought us to success. And also starting with the install base, we knew we have very good contacts. They give us an open and honest feedback, and we can also try out things to make the best happen here. Yeah.
All right, so I think I was successful sharing my screen.
Yes, we can see.
Yeah, wonderful. So I think we will start by showing the mini map of the our first use case, right? This is the most complete customer hub that we're using. So it is important to mention that we have a lot of different teams and we have a lot of different contributors to the customer success hub. We ended up having a huge board in Asana that we just share between different departments. We have monthly contributions from product, from marketing, from our expert services colleagues, from our training and academy colleagues, right, to bring their content in an organized, structured way to the customers and also get honest feedback. So we have it structured into the homepage with the exclusives and the news, right? We share our product roadmap, for example, exclusively on the hub. We do have the enablement sessions. We offer recordings, and then we just post the recordings into the customer success hub. We have our product team sharing the best of the best, all the programs that they're offering for the customers in the voice of customer. Then we have a section that is meant to be a collaboration between the CSM and the customer. We have the contacts for the customers to know who they should be talking to in case that is a new customer, there is a switch in CSM, they can easily get connect to their new CSM. There's a meeting scheduler, for example, so that all that email back and forth of what day works for you can be solved a little bit faster. We have our expert services colleagues offering their educational videos on the Spryker services. We also have the next use case, for example, that would be available in hopefully Q1 this year. That would be the expert services collaboration with customers. Also in the same hub, we have the training section, we have business consulting offering their content, and we have Spryker events where our marketing colleagues can share their news and the event updates. We have Spryker Excite, which is a big event for the e-commerce industry and Spryker customers that happens every year. So every time we are preparing all of that, we share the updates with our customers.
And
so
I
if
think
everyone is ready, sorry, Pablo.
Sorry. And I think everyone is like, wow, what do you have? And that was exactly why we needed to have it in a certain structure and have it customer facing in a sorted way and easy to digest step for step. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe just before we go to actually how it looks like from the customer end. So the view that you see here, this is the kit minimap, and this is how you could actually orchestrate and see in the bird's eye view all of the content or all of the content pieces that you can have in the interface. And it is important that every column represents an actual tab that we can see afterwards, but it is important to make sure that the content serves the actions that you would like to push and that you would like to promote. And with this view, you can also understand what they see on the first tab and the second tab, etc. And I think that also maybe just before that we go to the customer interface itself, is that because you have so many different teams that are working on the same interface, we want to give every team their own area where they can add their own content. And eventually, from a customer perspective, we pull all of the relevant pieces of information and compile it into one interface. So it allows you to work in parallel with multiple teams and making sure that that each team contributes to their own area. And the result of it, it's what you will see in a moment.
Wonderful. Yeah, so let's go into the actual hub. So this is how it looks like. It is very Spryker branded. We had an amazing collaboration with our design team to come up with something very fresh looking and customer success hub specific. So we have the organized most important links on the homepage. We have the news and the most important things that we share with the customers, security releases, for example. We have the roadmap recordings on the homepage, so it's easy to find. It is a very demanded content, so it should be understandable for the customers where to find it. We use different formats to structure a text, for example, because sometimes we do want to share a lot of reading, which we're trying to organize a bit more compact into different formats. This is also something we love about Everafter, that you don't have to just paste the text. You can play around with it and have it in so many different ways. So this is what our product, for example, shares with our customers. We also have the CSMs collaborating. This is our test sample account. So there is no actual customer information, but this is usually a long to-do list, which the customer success managers can populate after the meetings with the customers, and where they can track the tasks. And we're hearing very positive feedback about how that is accepted by customers and how that is useful to also organize the thoughts, organize the meetings. We have the the contacts of all the important people. So this is an example. Our team also adds all the people that are involved in the customer project. In the same section, they can schedule, this is just an example, but there can be a meeting scheduler, past meetings, any important links that we want to share. We share the materials on our services, on all our courses. It is especially important for the customers that go through onboarding, right, to access the right catalogs and the right training paths, the right courses. So we try to put as much information as possible on the trainings. Our business consulting is populating with a lot of different information as well. We have the events. We have our developer community that is also shared. We have the links, the resources between the Spryker developer community and the customer success hub. And that is our customer success hub, which the majority of our customers see. And before the customer would get to this view, we also offer an onboarding hub, which concentrates mostly on the onboarding and on performing the critical steps, understanding Spryker ecosystem, understanding how Spryker works, understanding the processes, going through the important trainings. That is something that is very important for us, so that the customer does understand how we operate, right? How to communicate with us, how to work with us. And at first, we offer a very, very simple to-do list with the most important information, and so that the customer is also motivated to get to the next step, to the next view of our success hub.
Yeah, and
So this is, yeah, sorry, Pablo.
As you can see, that's the one-stop portal, 24/7 available. I mean, customers can go there, they can watch short introduction videos for each and every service. We try to make it very tangible and interesting. Also, good mix out of video content, links, documentation, not overwhelming, but also guiding to the certain sections we are providing, like the support portal, Academy, our Safari, which we call Academy. And yeah, to have that as a best possible structure and as an interesting hub available.
Yeah, and I think it is important also to mention that this is the most evolving experience at the moment that customers post onboarding get. It means that during the onboarding, the experience will be linear, you can say, with more actionable stuff to get them used to this interface, and it evolves as they evolve together with Spryker. And you were able to combine between providing them a lot of curated information, but in a very engaging and like getting started. Those are the most recommended areas that probably you will find interesting. In addition, you could also, it looks like if you can go to the My Spryker tab, so you can also capture information from the customer, tell us a bit about your goals and your business. That gives you, I hope, some valuable content pieces that you can later work with the customer.
Yeah. So I saw also a question which fits very well here. How do we keep customers coming back to the hub? It's also part internal change management. So we really needed also to attract our internal teams to work with that, and to actively have customer communication from CSM side with the customers, like if they have their regular meetings every week or second week, that they also join the customer success hub together with the customers, go through checklists, point them to the right direction, but also most important, having Valentina as a dedicated position. I mean, she's not only taking care about customer success hub and the engagements here, but is from a general organized perspective also responsible of which touch points do we have within Spryker, how to make them digestible for every CSM or customer facing role, to give them best possible ways and structure to go there. And actually, yes, it's about keeping the content up to date. So we regularly post updates here, and if we have new events, roadmap, etc., developments. So it really attracts customers to go there, and they can also get push notifications or emails or for certain campaigns where we reach out to them. So we also changed our way of communication and working with the customers. And we had, but we are coming back later to that, where customers actually also see the value in it. And that's the best reason in the end why they come back to the hub.
Yeah, and I think that maybe we can cover that as well. What are like the actual measurements that you were able to see from this after you shared it with customers, either quantitative metrics or like qualitative feedback, if you can share with us on that as well.
I think the most drastic change that we see would be in the onboarding. We even had, we agreed to share the story, but so we had one of the new customers going through onboarding last week. And one of our colleagues was going through the onboarding presentation, so that the onboarding hub is not being just given to the customer. The CSM walks the customer through what the tasks are, what the expectations are, how to complete, and what to do with the information. And our colleague was stopped in the middle of the presentation for the customer to give him feedback on how impressed they were with the structure of the whole onboarding process, with how clean and neat everything looks, with how they understood immediately what they had to do. And they were very positively shocked, and our colleague immediately shared the feedback, and we're also, okay, then it's working. Then we see that
Nice.
what we're doing is actually working for the customers. They're happy about the structure, they're happy about the hub. We do see them coming back. And of course, for the onboarding customers, we want to make it right from the very beginning, introduce the hub early on, explain, then kind of grow on it. Then we also see from the conversations that the CSMs are having with their portfolio that the hub is being accepted between the customers. They talk to each other about it. I was told by one of my former customers is, oh, by the way, I think you'll publish it in the customer success hub, right? I know where to find my information. That was for me also like a little light bulb. Oh, okay, so that we actually have the change management happening. We actually see the customers accepting this. For some of them that have been with us for years, this is a drastic change, right? They never had. They would always go to the CSM and ask the question. We see that a lot of operational questions are just disappearing. The customers manage to find documentation by themselves without recurring to the CSMs. We saw that the CSMs have a bit more time. They don't have to answer those questions, right? They have some more time to dedicate to, instead of pointing into the documentation, into building the to-do list and the next steps list with the customers, right? So the customers also love those to-do lists. When after a meeting, you can actually document the next steps, you can have them visually, you can add all the materials there, you can do a lot of different things, right, in the one interface, and communicate with your CSM instead of directly in the interface, instead of writing 5 emails, right? So that made the processes in general a bit efficient.
Nice. Those are amazing. Different ways to understand what the impact of that. I know that Pablo, on one of the conversations that you've had with us previously, that you were actually able to quantify something regarding touch points and the onboarding time. So if you can share with us a bit about the impacts that you saw in this area. Yeah,
you also created a wonderful success story where I could recommend everyone who wants to read exactly through it, because I will not repeat everything, but of course it was really gaining efficiency. So it's on one hand, it's a much better way on how to work in a structured way, but also like having a shorter time to value is a keyword, and also efficiency in total, what's driving around customer success generally nowadays. So I mean, we did some measurements, and it's easier to scale with automation and efficiency and in a structured way than scaling with CSMs in the future. And as I said, Spryker is growing, and we are adding more and more customers continuously. So we cannot just scale our teams in the same then we scale our customers right now, but we of course want to keep the quality at the same level or even improve it. And that was actually what happened and what was the game changer in the end. So we are more than a third more efficient in the end. Onboarding is sorted in a very structured way, and avoiding any pitfalls from, I don't know, miscommunication, etc. So everyone has a clear overview of what happens when, which step, what actually happened already, what is still open, where do we need to focus on. So a customer success manager is it's very easy to enter the hub, be in contact with customers and knowing exactly where this customer is and what to do next and what to focus on. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. I know that we only have 5 more minutes left, and I'm excited if you can share a bit what do you plan ahead? What other areas do you imagine using the interface for?
Yeah, I mean, we started with the install base, right? With a focus group, we extended it to the whole install base, which was very well adapted. Then we used it for the onboarding, where we have a more structured onboarding in place now, and we also launched the QBR EBR section, which will fully be functional in Q1 this year. So what we started next is the partner success portal, which is currently still on our old solution Salesforce, basically how we work there, and because it's very important for us to enable our partners to also scale in sales with our partners. We have 80 plus partners on the market, to have an efficient way to work together with them, and also have shared areas like where we have Spryker, the partner and the customer, and where we have areas where all of the three have transparency on what currently is the status and what happens and what are the next steps. So that is definitely one focus we have in the nearer future, and we already started also with a dedicated team here. And who knows, I mean, there are more possibilities as a general Spryker portal. And also, I know you have some good opportunities in regards of sales and opening that up more also for the pre-sales phase. So that could be a very good connector, and actually makes us very easy to extend these use cases and also look into other areas. And it's very well adapted. And I know there was a meeting recently where you've been in Berlin also talking about the partner success portal. And actually our internal RevOps also changed the whole perspective. So that was something I was really happy hearing about that later when we had the catch up, and they reported on it. And I was really happy because once you get to know, in touch with it and see the advantage and also what it can do with the different possibilities, you really get directly what it actually brings in advantages and potential to change the contact here.
Yeah, that's great. And I think that if you look at it from the customer perspective, the more areas in the journey that they can have like a consistent experience, for them, it's much easier to get used to it. You don't need to change how they communicate with you throughout the lifecycle journey. So it can start with the pre-sale and then onboarding, post-onboarding, QBRs. Even if partner is involved, for them, it's like a consistent experience. All right, so we are almost on time. Do you have anything else that you would like to share with us before we wrap this awesome, super valuable webinar.
So if there are any further questions, also you are welcome to reach out via LinkedIn or direct contacts. We can see it's very hard to cover everything within that short amount of time, but feel free to reach out. We are very happy to be a reference here and also speak about the use cases and show ways in how to implement Everafter best possible.
Yeah, we also put here if you would like to connect, so you can like easy start. And if you'd like to build your customer interface, I'm putting here on the chat where you could actually speak with us. All right, Valentina, anything on your end?
I think, yeah, I actually wanted to add the same, that if you need any advice or any reference for the customer interfaces, happy to connect and happy to be the reference.
All right. Valentina, Pablo, thank you so much. I think we covered a lot more than I've planned, and I'm happy that we're able to cover so many things. It's always a pleasure to meet and have a discussion with you. Looking forward for, by the way, all of those things that we've mentioned are in a less than a year's time, right? We have so many other things that we plan ahead. So thank you for being a true partners of us.
And thank you for having us also for this webinar. And it's not that we do this because we get something. It's because we are really convinced and we are really happy that we found our ways together. And it's a very, very good partnership and collaboration.
Thank you all for joining and listening and staying in. If you have any questions, you are more than welcome to connect with us. And until next time, have a good rest of your week. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.